7,500 milliamp hours. That's not a typo. It's the revolutionary battery capacity packed into Xiaomi's latest flagship phone, enough power to keep your device running for days. But this isn't just another incremental upgrade in the endless parade of smartphone releases. What's happening in China right now signals a seismic shift that's sending shockwaves through the entire mobile industry. When Xiaomi unveiled its 17 series this September, they didn't just break sales records, they shattered them. Within minutes of launch, stores across mainland China were completely cleaned out, with crowds that rivaled the heyday of iPhone releases. The Pro Max model alone accounted for over half of total sales, marking a dramatic turning point in how Chinese consumers view domestic brands in the premium segment. But the most fascinating part of this story isn't just about numbers or market share. It's about how Xiaomi has completely reimagined what a smartphone can be. Take the dynamic back display, a clever 2.66-inch screen that wraps around the camera module on the back of both Pro models. While other manufacturers have experimented with secondary displays before, none have managed to make it feel this essential. This isn't some gimmicky feature destined to be forgotten in a drawer. It's a genuine innovation that solves real problems. Imagine taking perfect selfies using your phone's main cameras while seeing yourself on the back display, or checking notifications without constantly flipping your phone over. It's the kind of thoughtful design that makes you wonder why nobody did it sooner. But the real revolution lies beneath the surface. While other manufacturers continue to play it safe with conventional lithium-ion batteries, Xiaomi has embraced cutting-edge silicon-carbon technology to achieve what many thought impossible. The base model houses a 7,000 mAh battery, the Pro variant features a 6,300 mAh cell, and the Pro Max takes it to an unprecedented 7,500 mAh, all while maintaining surprisingly slim profiles. To put these numbers in perspective, most flagship phones today pack batteries around 4,000 to 5,000 mAh. Xiaomi hasn't just raised the bar, they've launched it into the stratosphere, and they've done it without creating bulky bricks that nobody wants to carry. The camera system tells an equally compelling story of innovation. Gone are the circular modules of previous generations, replaced by a sleek rectangular housing that contains some of the most sophisticated mobile photography technology ever created. Each model sports 350-megapixel cameras, but it's the Pro Max's Prism periscope telephoto lens that's turning heads in the photography world. Powering all this innovation is Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chipset, delivering performance that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. We're talking about a 33% improvement in graphics performance and 42% better efficiency compared to its predecessor. When paired with up to 16 GB of RAM and 1 TB of storage in the Pro Max, you're essentially carrying a powerful computer in your pocket. The software side is equally impressive. Running on Android 16-based HyperOS 3, these devices introduce AI capabilities that feel almost prescient. The enhanced Hyper Xiaomi Assistant doesn't just respond to commands, it learns from your behavior patterns and anticipates your needs. Walking into your favorite coffee shop, your loyalty card QR code automatically appears on the back display. Approaching airport security, your boarding pass is already waiting for you. But perhaps the most disruptive aspect of Xiaomi's strategy is their pricing. The base model starts at just 4,499 yuan, approximately 630, while the top-tier Pro Max with 16 GB RAM and 1 TB storage tops out at 6,999 yuan, 980. These prices aren't just competitive. They're aggressive enough to make Apple and Samsung executives lose sleep. The impact has been immediate and far-reaching. Samsung has reportedly accelerated development of its own silicon-carbon battery technology, while Apple is rumored to be exploring secondary display concepts for future iPhone models. The industry giants can no longer afford to ignore what's happening in China. The implications extend far beyond just smartphones. Xiaomi's success with silicon-carbon battery technology could accelerate development across the entire electronics industry. Their implementation of the dynamic back display might inspire a new generation of device designs. Even their approach to AI integration could influence how we think about human-computer interaction. The ripple effects of Xiaomi's breakthrough have already begun transforming the entire mobile landscape. Within weeks of the 17 series launch, Samsung's mobile division reportedly held emergency strategy meetings in Seoul. According to industry insiders, the Korean tech giant is frantically accelerating development of their own silicon carbon battery technology, aiming to close what one executive allegedly called an unacceptable gap in power capacity. But it's not just about batteries anymore. The success of Xiaomi's dynamic back display has sparked what mobile design expert Jennifer Torres calls a fundamental rethinking of smartphone interaction. Apple has filed multiple patents related to secondary display technology, while Google's Pixel team is rumored to be exploring similar concepts for their next flagship device. The global implications extend far beyond just smartphone design. Xiaomi's aggressive pricing strategy, offering flagship features at mid-range prices, is creating unprecedented pressure on premium brands. The base Xiaomi 17 model, priced at 4,499 yuan, 630, delivers specifications that match or exceed phones costing nearly twice as much. This price-performance ratio hasn't gone unnoticed by consumers worldwide. Even before its global release, anticipated for February 2026, the 17 series has generated intense interest in markets traditionally dominated by Apple and Samsung. Social media is buzzing with comparison videos, with many wondering why they should pay premium prices when Xiaomi offers similar or superior features for less. The real game changer, however, might be Xiaomi's implementation of Android 16-based HyperOS 3. This isn't just another Android skin, it's a complete reimagining of how smartphones can integrate with our daily lives. The enhanced Xiao assistant demonstrates levels of contextual awareness that make current AI assistants look primitive by comparison. Take, for example, its ability to analyze your calendar, location, and real-time traffic data to automatically suggest alternate routes to meetings. Or how it seamlessly coordinates with smart home devices, adjusting your home's temperature and lighting based on your commute patterns. These aren't just party tricks. They're meaningful improvements in how we interact with our devices. Lei Jun, Xiaomi's founder and CEO, puts it succinctly. The smartphone should anticipate your needs, not just respond to them. That's the difference between true innovation and mere iteration. The impact on the broader tech ecosystem has been equally profound. Xiaomi's success with silicon carbon battery technology has accelerated research and development across the entire electronics industry. Electric vehicle manufacturers are particularly interested, seeing potential applications for extending range while reducing battery weight. The geopolitical implications are equally fascinating. Despite ongoing trade tensions and technology restrictions, Xiaomi's achievements demonstrate the resilience and innovation capability of Chinese tech companies. They're no longer content to compete solely on price. They're pushing the boundaries of what's technically possible. The camera system on the Pro Max model deserves special attention. Its prism periscope telephoto lens, capable of 5x optical zoom and macro shots from just 30 centimeters, represents a significant advance in mobile photography. The partnership with Leica has yielded results that are forcing professional photographers to reconsider their equipment choices. But perhaps the most significant aspect of Xiaomi's success is how it's changing consumer perceptions. The days when Chinese brands were seen as mere imitators are firmly in the past. The 17 series demonstrates that companies like Xiaomi can not only match but exceed Western innovation. The question now isn't whether Chinese manufacturers can compete at the premium level. It's how quickly Western brands can adapt to this new reality. With Xiaomi's global launch approaching, the pressure on established players will only intensify. The next few months could reshape the smartphone industry in ways few could have predicted just a year ago.
Huawei is very dangerous.
Rarely does a country go to war with a private company.
We have met the enemy, and it is Huawei.
We're not going to do business with Huawei.
Huawei represents a national security risk.
But is this really about Huawei Or is it something bigger than that?
The semiconductor world just witnessed what many thought impossible. In a development that's sending shockwaves through the global tech industry, Huawei has confirmed testing a homegrown extreme ultraviolet lithography machine, the holy grail of chip-making technology. This isn't just another tech announcement. It's a seismic shift that could completely reshape the future of computing as we know it. For years, the West has maintained an iron grip on EUV technology, with Dutch giant ASML holding a complete monopoly on these ultra-sophisticated machines that print the world's most advanced computer chips. Each of these behemoths costs more than $350 million, more than a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, and they're so complex that shipping just one requires 40 shipping containers. But here's where things get interesting. When the United States slammed the door on China's access to this critical technology through harsh sanctions, experts smugly predicted it would take China at least 15 years to catch up. Well, those experts are eating their words right now. The heart of Huawei's breakthrough lies in something called laser-induced discharge plasma, or LDP. While it might sound like science fiction, this technology is very real and potentially game-changing. Unlike ASML's massive machines that use laser-produced plasma, Huawei's system takes a different approach. It vaporizes tin between electrodes, zaps it with high voltage, and creates plasma that emits the precise wavelength of extreme ultraviolet light needed to etch circuits just 3 nanometers wide, about 30,000 times thinner than a human hair. But this isn't just about Huawei. The company's breakthrough is part of a larger, coordinated push by China to break free from Western technological dominance. At the heart of this effort is SMIC, China's largest chip manufacturer, which has already shocked the world by managing to produce 7-nanometer chips despite being cut off from advanced Western technology. The stakes couldn't be higher. As Professor Wei Chang of Beijing's Institute of Semiconductor Research notes, the implications are staggering. If Huawei succeeds with its planned trial production in the third quarter of 2025 and moves to mass production in 2026 as scheduled, it could flood the market with homegrown 3-nanometer chips. This would effectively shatter the Western monopoly on advanced semiconductor technology and potentially render U.S. sanctions meaningless. But the impact goes far beyond geopolitics. These advanced chips are the foundation of everything from artificial intelligence and quantum computing to autonomous vehicles and next-generation smartphones. Smaller, more efficient chips mean devices that can run complex AI models locally, cars that can process vast amounts of sensor data in real time, and phones that can last for days while performing tasks we can barely imagine today. The response from the West has been a mixture of disbelief and concern. As recently as December 2024, ASML's CEO confidently claimed China was still 10 to 15 years behind in EUV technology, but the timeline he presented is already crumbling. Even Nvidia, the US chip giant that dominates AI computing, has started warning investors about Huawei's rapid advances in chip technology. The urgency of the situation is reflected in Huawei's massive investment in its new Shanghai R&D campus. The company is aggressively recruiting semiconductor veterans from around the world, offering unprecedented packages to attract top talent. They're not just building machines, they're creating an entire ecosystem from the ground up. But let's be clear, significant challenges remain. Building a complete EUV ecosystem involves mastering incredibly complex technologies, from precision mirrors and lenses to specialized software and materials. ASML spent over 2 decades perfecting their system, and even small imperfections can render chips useless. The story becomes even more intriguing when you consider the broader context. China's push for semiconductor independence isn't happening in isolation. The country's big fund has poured over $50 billion into semiconductor research and development, creating a nationwide effort to break free from Western technology dependence. The irony hasn't been lost on industry observers. The very sanctions intended to contain China's technological advancement may have instead accelerated it. By cutting off access to Western technology, the US and its allies effectively force China to innovate in ways they might never have attempted otherwise. As we dig deeper into this technological earthquake, a crucial question emerges. What are the real-world consequences of China's semiconductor breakthrough? The ripple effects are already being felt across the global tech landscape, with major players scrambling to adapt their strategies. Perhaps most telling is the unfolding drama surrounding NVIDIA, the American AI chip giant. As Huawei advances its chip capabilities, Chinese regulators have launched a full-scale investigation into NVIDIA's business practices. The investigation into NVIDIA highlights a fascinating paradox. While U.S. export controls were meant to protect American technological superiority, they've created a vacuum that Chinese companies are racing to fill. Chinese firms cut off from advanced Western chips are now turning to domestic alternatives like Huawei's upcoming 3-nanometer processors. The global semiconductor market, worth over $600 billion, is witnessing what industry veteran Thomas Mitchell calls the biggest shakeup since the invention of the integrated circuit. He explains, "But here's where the story takes another fascinating turn. While the West focuses on containing China's technological rise, Chinese companies are forging ahead with a different vision. Instead of trying to match ASML's complex and expensive approach, they're pioneering new methods that could make advanced chip production more accessible to a broader range of manufacturers." The implications for global tech competition are staggering. If Huawei succeeds, we could see a rapid proliferation of advanced chip manufacturing capabilities across China and potentially other developing nations. This would fundamentally alter the power dynamics in the global technology sector. Meanwhile, China's massive Big Fund continues to pour resources into semiconductor development, with investments topping $50 billion. This coordinated push involves not just chip manufacturing, but the entire ecosystem, from design software to specialized materials and testing equipment. The race is now against time. Huawei's ambitious timeline for trial production in late 2025 and mass production in 2026 has sent shockwaves through boardrooms from Silicon Valley to Taiwan. TSMC and Intel, long comfortable in their technological lead, are suddenly facing the prospect of serious competition from an unexpected quarter. Yet, even the skeptics acknowledge that the landscape has shifted dramatically. The assumption that China would remain technologically dependent on the West for decades has been shattered, as one senior executive at a major U.S. chip company privately admitted. The geopolitical implications are equally profound. China's push for semiconductor independence aligns perfectly with President Xi Jinping's vision of technological sovereignty. If successful, it would neutralize one of the West's most powerful economic leverage points. The story becomes even more complex when considering the broader technology ecosystem. Advanced chips are essential for everything from artificial intelligence to quantum computing. A Chinese breakthrough in chip manufacturing could accelerate their progress in these crucial fields, potentially leading to parallel breakthroughs in multiple domains. The coming months will be crucial. As Huawei's testing phase progresses, the world will be watching for signs of success or failure. But regardless of the immediate outcome, one thing is clear. The semiconductor landscape has been permanently altered. The West's monopoly on advanced chip technology is facing its most serious challenge yet, and the implications will reshape the future of global technology. In 2025, something extraordinary happened in the world of personal computing. As Huawei's Windows license expired, the Chinese tech giant didn't panic or scramble for alternatives. Instead, they unveiled something that sent shockwaves through the global technology industry. A line of laptops running entirely on their own operating system. This wasn't just another product launch, it was a declaration of technological independence that could reshape the future of computing as we know it. At the heart of this revolution is the MateBook Fold, a marvel of engineering that challenges everything we thought we knew about laptop design. Imagine holding a device that's thinner than a typical smartphone, yet unfolds to reveal an 18-inch OLED display with brightness that rivals professional monitors. At 23,999 yuan, it's not just a premium device. It's a statement about what's possible when a company decides to rewrite the rules. Says Dr. Sarah Chen, a technology analyst who's been studying the industry for 2 decades. But the real story isn't in the hardware specs. It's in what's running underneath. Harmony OS 5, Huawei's homegrown operating system, represents the culmination of an extraordinary journey. What started as a response to trade restrictions has evolved into something far more ambitious. With over 2,700 core patents and 5 years of intensive development involving more than 10,000 engineers, this isn't some hastily assembled Windows replacement. It's a ground-up reimagining of how computers should work in 2020. The numbers tell only part of the story. Within weeks of launch, Harmony OS 5 already supported over 150 applications, with plans to reach 2,000 by year's end. But it's not just about quantity. It's about how these applications work together in ways that traditional operating systems never imagined. Take Celia, Huawei's AI assistant, for example. During a recent demonstration, a software engineer showed how Celia transformed a 2-hour meeting into a comprehensive presentation in minutes, complete with key insights and action items. The implications for global technology markets are staggering. For decades, personal computing has been dominated by a duopoly, Windows with over 70% market share, and Apple controlling most of the premium segment. Now, a third player has entered the arena with something genuinely different. The security implications alone are enough to make governments and enterprises take notice. In an age where data sovereignty has become a critical concern, Huawei's approach offers something unique: complete control over both hardware and software stack. The impact is already being felt across the industry. Component suppliers are reporting dramatic shifts in procurement patterns, with one senior executive at a major chip manufacturer revealing that demand for specialized components has created entirely new supply chain dynamics. In Shenzhen's electronics markets, traditionally a bellwether for global tech trends, vendors are scrambling to stock Harmony OS-compatible peripherals. But perhaps most telling is how Huawei has approached the ecosystem challenge. Rather than trying to replicate Windows or Mac OS, they've created something that feels native to 2025. The interface adapts to how you work, learning from your habits and optimizing performance in real time. Early benchmarks show these machines booting in under 8 seconds and delivering battery life that exceeds 15 hours under normal usage. The MateBook Pro, starting at 7,999 yuan, brings this innovation to a broader market. With specs that include up to 32 GB of RAM and 22 TB of SSD storage, it's designed to compete head-to-head with established players. But it's the integration with Huawei's broader ecosystem that really sets it apart. Files flow seamlessly between devices, calls transfer from phones to laptops without interruption, and screens extend wirelessly to create immersive workspaces. In Chinese universities, a new generation of developers is already learning to create applications for this platform. The economic ripples are spreading far beyond China's borders. Markets in Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America, regions where Huawei already has a strong smartphone presence, are watching closely. These areas, less tightly bound to existing ecosystems, could provide fertile ground for Harmony OS to expand globally. The ripple effects are already spreading beyond China's tech sector. In major financial institutions across Asia, IT directors are taking notice, explains James Wong, Chief Technology Officer at Asia Pacific Bank. The transformation is perhaps most visible in how these machines handle everyday tasks. During a recent demonstration at Huawei's Shenzhen headquarters, engineers showed how a single gesture could seamlessly move work between devices. A presentation started on a smartphone continued instantly on the MateBook Fold's expansive display, while real-time translation handled a multi-language video conference without missing a beat. But it's not just about features. It's about independence. As one senior executive at a major Asian semiconductor firm noted, this push for innovation has created new manufacturing challenges, forcing suppliers to develop novel solutions for everything from hinges to display technologies. The impact on education is equally profound. At Beijing's prestigious Tsinghua University, students are already developing applications that would have been impossible on traditional operating systems. By 2026, Huawei plans to produce 5 million units annually at its Dongguan facilities. These aren't just assembly lines, they're highly automated production centers that combine smartphone manufacturing precision with laptop-scale operations. The quality control standards are unprecedented, with each foldable display undergoing over 200 individual tests before assembly. The international response has been mixed but telling. European Union technology advisors are watching closely, seeing potential lessons for their own digital sovereignty initiatives, notes Dr. Maria Schmidt, a EU digital policy expert. In Southeast Asian markets, where Huawei's smartphone presence is already strong, the response has been enthusiastic. Local developers are rushing to create applications that cater to regional needs, from specialized business tools to educational software. The ecosystem is growing organically, driven by real market demands rather than top-down mandates. The security implications are particularly significant. Harmony OS's microkernel architecture represents a fundamental rethinking of operating system security. Rather than bolting on security features as afterthoughts, the entire system is built around the principle of zero trust. Every process is isolated, every data transfer is encrypted, and the AI system constantly monitors for unusual patterns. Explains cybersecurity expert Dr. Robert Chang. The timing couldn't be more significant. As Microsoft prepares to end support for Windows 10 in October, millions of users worldwide are facing difficult choices about upgrading their systems. Huawei's approach offers an alternative path, one that doesn't force users into predetermined upgrade cycles. The economic implications extend far beyond the technology sector. In Shenzhen's electronics markets, traditionally a bellwether for global tech trends, vendors report unprecedented demand for Harmony OS-compatible peripherals. Perhaps most significantly, this shift represents a broader trend toward technological self-reliance. Other Chinese tech firms are watching closely, with some already exploring similar initiatives. The message is clear. The era of depending on foreign operating systems may be coming to an end. The integration with artificial intelligence goes beyond simple voice commands or automated tasks. Celia, Huawei's AI assistant, demonstrates an understanding of context that makes earlier AI assistants seem primitive by comparison. In enterprise settings, it can analyze years of business data to suggest process improvements or predict potential issues before they arise. Manufacturing capacity is ramping up quickly, with Huawei's Dongguan facilities being retooled specifically for this new generation of devices. The production lines combine precision robotics with human expertise, ensuring each device meets standards that rival or exceed those of established PC makers. As development continues, the ecosystem is expanding in unexpected ways. Third-party developers are creating applications that take advantage of Harmony OS's unique capabilities. From advanced video editing tools that use AI to automate complex tasks, to business applications that seamlessly integrate with enterprise systems.
Reports this morning that Chinese tech company Huawei is ramping up to test its newest and most powerful AI chip, which would be a competitor to chips made by NVIDIA. Christina Partsinevel is here with that story to evaluate the threat. Hi, Christina.
A single photonic chip just shattered 50 years of semiconductor physics. In a classified facility beneath Shanghai, Chinese engineers have achieved what Western experts deemed impossible. A 1.6 terabit per second silicon photonic module that runs colder than Arctic ice and costs 30% less than anything Silicon Valley can produce. This isn't evolution. This is extinction for traditional computing.
Huawei is very dangerous.
Rarely does a country go to war with a private company.
We have met the enemy, and it is Huawei.
We're not going to do business with Huawei.
Huawei represents a national security risk.
But is this really about Huawei, or is it something bigger than that?
The numbers are staggering. While ASML's stock plummeted 27% in early trading, Huawei quietly secured $300 billion in pre-orders from BRICS nations, Every major AI company from OpenAI to Google is scrambling to rewrite their roadmaps because this technology slashes training costs by 90%. The Pentagon convened emergency sessions. Intel's Ohio fab plans are dead. NVIDIA dropped 14% pre-market. The semiconductor world order just collapsed in real time. This breakthrough emerged from China's most closely guarded research program, executed in underground facilities that Western intelligence completely missed. For years, while the world focused on nanometer races and EUV lithography, Chinese scientists pursued an entirely different path, replacing electrons with photons, transforming how data moves through silicon itself. Dr. Chen Wei, a former TSMC engineer who defected to join Huawei's photonics division, explained the fundamental shift. The manufacturing breakthrough is equally revolutionary. While the U.S. restricted China's access to ASML's extreme ultraviolet machines, Chinese engineers perfected deep ultraviolet lithography for photonic applications. They discovered that photonic circuits don't require the microscopic precision of electronic transistors. Light behaves differently. It needs different rules. And China wrote those rules while the West wasn't watching. Inside SMIC's Shanghai facility, production lines now churn out photonic wafers with yields exceeding 90%. Each wafer produces approximately 5,000 AI-specific cores. These aren't incremental improvements, they're quantum leaps in processing density. A single photonic rack delivers computational power that would require an entire data center of traditional chips. The energy implications alone rewrite the economics of computing. Data centers globally waste $30 billion annually on cooling systems. Traditional silicon generates heat as an inevitable byproduct of electrical resistance. Photonic chips operate at near ambient temperatures, eliminating massive cooling infrastructure. Microsoft's Azure division estimates this could reduce operational costs by 70%. The strategic implications extend far beyond corporate balance sheets. China's photonic breakthrough represents technological independence achieved through ingenuity rather than espionage. They didn't steal Western technology, they rendered it obsolete. ASML's multi-billion-dollar EUV machines, once considered indispensable for advanced chip production, suddenly look like expensive relics. Intelligence sources reveal China's roadmap extends beyond current achievements. The Phoenix chip, scheduled for 2026, targets 3 terahertz speeds, but speed is only part of the equation. These chips enable AI models of unprecedented scale. GPT-7 level systems that would bankrupt companies using traditional hardware become economically viable. The bottleneck shifts from computational power to imagination. Wall Street's reaction reflects existential panic. ASML attempted damage control, announcing hybrid photonic EUV prototypes. Industry insiders dismiss this as desperation.
They're trying to retrofit a steam engine for the jet age, one analyst observed. Huawei isn't just ahead, they're playing a different game entirely.
The talent war intensified overnight. Chinese companies now offer triple salaries to poach Western optical engineers.